Hello everyone. Today this video is going to be a little bit short and a little bit random. I decided that it would be best to make this random video, since it is Random Video Sunday, about college, because yes, I'm in college right now. I just got done with my fall semester of my junior year, so I'm almost at that senior year, almost there. And it's been one crazy ride, but it's been rather interesting and very enjoyable, to say the least. And even though there have been ups and downs, overall I think it's a good experience to have. Now, is college for everyone? Absolutely not. And this video is not suggesting that everybody should go to college. However, I chose college because I wanted to do something with my life, and I feel like a college degree will really help me pursue my goals and ultimately help me land a job in the near future. Now, I go to it's a relatively small university. It's a 4-year university. I started in a 4-year university. I know a lot of people have started in the 2-year college and then have transferred a lot of the time, and that's perfectly reasonable and understandable because college is rather expensive, and I don't think it's going to get any cheaper anytime soon, for the most part, because due to the slow recovery of the economy, I just don't see college prices going down anytime soon. But is it worth the investment if you have the capacity to do so? Absolutely. I think it's definitely worthwhile. For the most part, though, college still has its challenges, not just financially. There's also having to deal with whether or not you actually want to make a leap of actually living on the campus. For me, I decided it would be best for me to just commute, because I live relatively close to where my college is, my university, however you want to put it, and that's what's made it a lot easier on me, because it does save you a lot of money. If you can commute to a university, the cost savings are just so much better, and it's a lot more reasonable, at least for me. And I didn't want to go in paying loans in college. That's just not what me and my parents wanted to do. So we knew that it was best for all of us that I would just commute and just drive to the university. I've heard living on campus is kind of a mixed bag. Yeah, you get the social aspects of it. You get the independence, the freedom. But overall, I decided ultimately to be a commuter because it's just too expensive to live on campus, and then having to deal with living with people that I don't really know, having to put up with all of the drama that goes on with living on campus, it just wasn't for me. It would have been too much for me, and I think that ultimately the decision for me to commute and live in my initial home, I think, has made it a lot easier on me personally than me living on campus and having to worry about all of these other things, because I feel like even if you have that independence, it still puts a lot of weight on your shoulders because you have to think of other things. But being able to commute has really allowed me to focus on studying, focus on trying to do well in the school, and keep my grades up. That's really, I think, given me a greater amount of freedom. I feel more free commuting than I would feel if I were to just be sent to live on the university. I just don't see the point for me to live on campus. And there's even some kids that actually do live rather close by, but yet they still pay the extra money to go and live on the campus, and I kind of don't understand why they do this. I don't see why this would be really beneficial for them. But I think a lot of people really want that college experience, and I think that's totally understandable and totally fine. It's just never been for me, and I never really realized the necessity of paying this so much money already to go to the university, and then on top of that paying to actually live on the university. And even the dorms aren't the nicest in the world. And yeah, I mean, you really don't know what's going around in the dorms anyway. So it's really just, it's just one of those things where you have to go, is this really worth me investing in? And I think ultimately my decision to not invest in that, I think, has really paid off. And I feel just really happy living with my parents. I don't mind that. And I still feel completely independent because I'm trying to, work my way, and hopefully with the assistance of internships as well as just doing well in school, I think I can get to that independent stage, fully independent stage, because I'd rather go gradually. And I think if you give people gradual independence, it's a lot easier and a lot less of a hassle than just telling your kids at 18, oh, go make something of yourself, bye-bye. I just don't think, for me, independence doesn't work that way. I think you gradually become independent, and I think that's an easier and more efficient way to become independent, rather than being sent off into the woods to fend for yourself. I think that's just ridiculous. So really, I do enjoy what I get out of the university. I do enjoy certain aspects of college a lot more than I did in high school, because even though college there's still harder classes, you still feel a lot that you can still do a lot more than in high school, because again, the classes are actually a lot shorter than they are in high school, because in high school you have to go every day of the week. In college, even though most of the time you probably have to go every day of the week, at least it's not a full-blown day like it is in high school. And for the most part, from what I can tell, the college semesters are a lot shorter, which makes it a lot more convenient and a lot easier. And it's nice to have a month off of winter break, which is technically what I have, and that's why I'm able to make these videos when I have time off. But yeah, really, for the most part, college is I think, a really fulfilling and useful experience to have. Ultimately, I feel that college really benefits a lot of people. There's still some problems though with college. Again, costs mainly are really a unfortunate part of college, especially when they make you pay for books that the teacher doesn't even really end up using all that much. That's kind of ridiculous, and I'm happy and fortunate though to have the option of renting books and then exchanging them back. Not a lot of universities do that, but mine does. I don't know if more universities are starting to do that. But really, for the most part, I think college helps people learn about things. Some of these things that you'll learn in college are fairly insignificant and don't really help you out with your career per se. I think there's just a lot of things within college I think that could be trimmed down, especially the core requirements. Now, if you don't know really what core is, well, core is basically just you're taking math and English and all the stuff that you kind of taken in high school, and you repeat that in college. I find that a little ridiculous, because the classes that they make you take are just so many, that it doesn't allow you to really focus on maybe really what you're interested in. Unless you don't have an idea as to what you want to do, then that makes it maybe a little bit easier on you. But I mean, even still, I think if you want to go to a 4-year college, it's best if you kind of know what you want to do, or at least have an idea. Because if you don't have an idea of what exactly you want to do, and you can't really decide, then it makes the tuition a lot more expensive, because you have to end up paying more for an extra year or something, and you just have all these other things that'll probably eventually come up, especially when you decide to change your major. That's always challenging, because then you have to take all these other courses that you initially did not take. And so it's really, I think, important. If you want to go to a 4-year university, I would definitely recommend that you at least have an idea of what you want to do. Have an idea and just go with it. And as far as everything else goes, besides the cost and living on campus, which I really don't have experience in, I think ultimately college is very helpful in the end of the day. Do sometimes are things sometimes not as great? Yes. Yes, there are certain aspects within every university, I'm sure, where nothing is 100% to the satisfaction of everybody. I think you're going to find things that you're not going to like about college, and I think that's fairly understandable, to find things that you probably wouldn't enjoy. And is college for everyone? Not necessarily. But for me personally, I feel like I want to get my education done. I want to be at a bachelor's, and I want to use it ultimately to find a decent job, and I want to just work my way and be with a company, and ultimately just do whatever I can to develop relationships and see if I can do something worthwhile with the degree that I earn. So really, that's really all college is in a nutshell. There's a lot of other little teeny aspects as well, involving social as well as university wise and study wise, but I think for the most part what I've explained is pretty much the gist of how college is really. It's different than high school. It feels a little different than high school, but for the most part it provides you a path and a direction and a way to go and figure out ultimately what you want to do with your goals in life. And I think that's why I prefer going to college and just getting my degree over with, and I'm so happy that I'm so close. I only need 3 more semesters and then I'm done and ready. Is the real world going to be scary? Probably. It is going to feel, I think, a little odd, once I'm done with my degree. But I'm very happy. I'm happy to be at the university that I'm at. I've met some amazing people. People have come and gone in college too, and you'll probably realize this. And it's also important to realize too that not everybody's going to like you in college. Yeah, people are a lot more friendly and a lot more open than college than in high school, and I think high school is a lot more open than middle school and such. But ultimately, There are people that you're going to get along with. There's people that you're probably not going to get along with, and that's okay. It's okay to have these kinds of experiences, because ultimately these experiences allow you to, I think, grow as a person and really figure out who you are as a person. And then you'll end up finding people that you can respect and that you admire, and ultimately that you want to be around. It's I think really eye-opening in a way. A lot of the professors I've had in my college or university have been fairly supportive and have done a good job. Yes, you're going to get some bad teachers. That's just going to, no university is going to have a perfect professor that's going to roll the same way as you do. And it's kind of the same thing as high school. You just have to kind of just go through it and see ultimately what happens. Just go in their office hours, go in and ask. Really put yourself out there if you want to do well and get a good grade. That's really ultimately what you have to do, and if you do that, then you will do fine in college. And just make sure that you choose a university that you feel fits with what you want to ultimately do. And it's also important to note the difficulty of the particular major that you choose, and if this is really the major you want to go in because you're really skilled in that area. For example, I would not be a science major because ultimately science is just never been my subject, and I've never been good at science. And to have a degree in chemistry or biology or something I would just probably fail every class because I'm not good at that stuff. It's not what I want to really do with my life. So it's important to have an idea of and establish what you're good at and really roll with it. Ultimately, I think college really does help people in finding a job compared to somebody who does not go to college. However, there's some people who I know don't have a degree and they still have a job, and that's totally fine. I totally understand that some people find their way without having college, but I think now it's becoming more of a necessity since the competition is fairly high, and also because ultimately it gives you something to show people, a degree basically. And some people might be wondering also too about the masters. I'm personally not going for a master's yet because I want to do work first. I want to do more practical hands-on things before I even think about touching textbooks again and trying to go back to college. Can it get you a higher salary? Absolutely, the masters can. But for me personally, I just want to be done with education, and I just kind of want to take the leap and go into the workforce and try to do something with the business degree that I will earn. And that's really ultimately what I want to do, is work for a company, work in business, particularly marketing, because my emphasis is in marketing. Because I really do like working with people, and I like being out in the field, and I like the creative aspects of marketing. So I definitely want to be in that direction. But for the most part, I think that's really all I can say about college. I'm wondering if people from anything from what I've said sounds fairly familiar, or things that you've maybe gone through in college. And for those of you who are maybe in high school or younger, I hope this video has been sort of a little insightful as to what college is like. And if anybody needs any advice or has any questions, comments, concerns, I would really be more than happy to answer them. But I think that's really all I can say about college. it's a different experience, and I think it's a fairly impacting and a positive experience for me. Does that mean it's for everybody? Absolutely not. But I would encourage everyone to check it out if they can, and see if it's something that could work for them. But I think that's really all I can say. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. And until next time, everybody,